The most rewarding part of my job is watching people try the device for the first time and they have the kind of aha moment when they break into a gel or a tissue. It feels very magical to experience True Force haptics for the first time. HAPLY makes touching technologies. That is, we make products that are normally haptic devices. We can make robotic systems that recreate the sense of touch from your digital objects on the screen so that you really feel them in front of you in this little robotic system. We started out selling our devices to be used in surgical simulation. So that device is actually rendering what it feels like to drill into bone or cut tissue. That's where we began, but you can look at it like a 3D mouse or a 3D stylus where you can do all sorts of different manipulation of 3D objects and actually get the sense of touch. So you could do robotic control, where you're feeling what a different robot might be feeling, but you're kind of controlling it at a distance. And you can use it for digital art. So the sculpting, you can imagine sculpting within a software is kind of hard with a mouse and a keyboard. But if you use a more natural 3D controller, you can kind of one-to-one sculpt stuff. So it's very flexible in what it can be used for. Feedback has been very positive, is well received in the medical simulation, and we have a lot of excitement about it in the 3D art world. So we're testing it out with artists right now who are really kind of interested in the technology. We have a ton of interest, so we're getting a lot of pull from our customers to create this new technology. In the next few months, we've got some big conversations and big co-development projects coming up within both the robotic control space and in the 3D art space. So pretty good momentum coming from the industry.